Hey fly tyers, Darren here. Welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying a fly on a shank, and this is a steelhead pattern. This is something of a request that I got from one of my customers not too long ago. It's a style that I like tying. I like the combination of mostly natural materials like marabou and rabbit fur, so in this case the rabbit zonker, mixed in with a little bit of synthetics. So just I really enjoy tying flies that have natural tapers, that sort of thing. So this is tied on a shank from a saltwater hook that I didn't really enjoy using all that much, so I figured rather than just tossing it in the garbage, I could get some use out of it by using the shank as the platform for intruder style flies or articulated style flies. So here's one. This is the egg sucking ice tiger. Let's have a look at the material list and get started. Get started. I'm not using a hook for this. I'm using a shank, so I basically cut the bend in the hook off of a saltwater hook. I had some saltwater hooks that I didn't particularly like, so I've just cut that with a pair of side cutters. And then I've got a this is a large fluorescent fire orange. This is the Wapsi brand. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not super happy with these. The powder coat on those comes off pretty quick, but this is a 1/4 inch. So I don't know if you can kind of see just different spots. The powder coats come off fairly easily. Oh yeah, so let's undo this. Put that one aside. So probably the trickiest part is just kind of getting this set up. So I'll show you what I've got going here. And honestly, if you don't want to use this jig, you can do it just in the hook jaws as well. Just want to make sure that you seat that in there. It's not too bad. You just want to try and get it to the right position before you lock those jaws. The only thing with that is it's not the most secure way. There's a few other products like different sort of chuck jigs, that sort of thing. But anyways, I'm using the HMH tube fly. I think it's basically a mandrel holder. So I'm just going to get that in place. I'll just put this here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I've got a 4-inch metal leader, wire leader. So this is a braided leader, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread that in along the side. Just going to do that on both sides. And then you just want to make sure you got enough room left over that you can put a hook in there as well. So I've got that good. I'm going to go ahead and straighten my hook eye out first. Alright, I think that's good. Now, let's get down to business here. I'm using a 6/0 thread. This is the fire orange. Doesn't make too much of a difference what color you use. So I'm going to just start that here, the thread, and take it back, not all the way back here. And I'm just going to take my scissors, pop those wires up. So they just got fed under the bead there. So you just want to make sure that this is secure. It's not going to pull out. So what I like to do is just tie those in and then double them back. And we'll just cover that up. Make sure any hard edges are covered. So as you can see, we've got the wire covered. That's going to be super secure. And we've got our cone head on there and hooks in the right position. Alright, once you got that, the rest of this is pretty easy. So I've got a two-toned hairline rabbit zonker, and this one's barred as well, so it's a white-blue barred. So I'm just going to kind of measure approximately the overall length of the hook and the wire leash. And I'm going to use that to gauge the size of the tail on the leather. That's just basically for my consistency. Come in here and we'll just take our scissors and kind of run through the hair so we can separate that nicely. And I like to just push that down over the shank. Just kind of let it wrap over. Just add a couple turns of thread. And then just give it a bit of a pull there at the end. Down just to make sure it's in a good position. And do a couple wraps forward to get the thread out. And then we're going to wrap this. So what I like to do, you can just pull it back and down, and that will align the hair so that it's going to fold back over rather than stopping and tying on a piece of crosscut. So we're just going to add like a wrap and a half. And that zonker just to kind of build up a little bit of body on the fly. Okay. And we'll snip off the leather here. We'll go back in and clean that up. So you want to try and kind of keep it fairly tight in there. Let's see if we can pull out any hair that might get trapped down in there. Alright, next we're going to take a piece of marabou. So we're just going to take a black piece here, start off. And just pull off fibers at the bottom. Got a nice thin stemmed piece for palmering. And then we're going to go probably about an inch and a half, 2 inches from the tip. Pull back. Just moisten the tip of that. We'll tie that down in between the zonker and the cone. We'll fold that back over so that it gets locked in place. It's not going to pull out. Now, I'm just going to grab a pair of hackle pliers. to help wrap this just a little bit easier. So just run my scissors along that marabou there and pull all the fibers back, and we'll wrap those. Just kind of wrap forward. It's okay if you go all the way to the cone. So I'm going to come back in here, lock that stem, pull everything rearward, and we'll just take a couple wraps over a little bit of that marabou there. That's locked in place. Next I'm going to take a piece of dark blue marabou. If you don't have dark blue, Silver Doctor is fine. Just pull off some of the fibers on the bottom again. Come in here and pull that down. You just don't want to go too far up the stem. It gets more brittle the further up you go. It might be a touch on the thin side, but we'll make sure to secure it. So we do the same thing as we did with the black. A couple wraps. Fold the stem back. Lock it in place. Trim that off. Grab our hackle pliers. I'm going to wrap this the same way. Palmering that forward. Make sure all those marabou fibers lay back. We'll just put this right behind the bead, the cone in this case. Couple wraps to lock it down. Couple to secure. And this gets a little tricky, so you want to just maneuver inside that cone. You've got a little bit of area to work with in there. But you can see that's going to give you a lot of nice motion, and this rabbit strip will be a little bit heavier, and this marabou just really flows nicely over that. Alright, so next I'm going to add a little bit of accent. This is Flashabou. The number on this one is 6926. I believe the name of that is Junebug or something to that effect. It's really nice. It's got some greens, blues, as well as some copper, I guess, or kind of a brownish color. So we're going to take about 10-15 strands of this. Just want to make sure that it's a mixture of the colors. And so I'm just going to measure this along the side, approximately the length of the fly. And we're just going to tie that in on the side with a few wraps. Make sure it's secure. Alright, got that. We're going to pull that material to the other side and tie it in so that it goes down the other side. We'll just measure that, trim it off so that they're even. Couple extra wraps just to lock it in place. Alright, and then last material, I'm going to use a piece of Silver Doctor blue schlappen. And for that I just pull most of the fibers rearward so I create a tie-in point at the tip. And we'll add a couple wraps. Make sure you pull down quite a bit on that because you've got a bit of a cushion to work with all the different materials in there. Alright, so we folded the tip back just to lock it in place. Trim that off. And just like we did with the marabou, I'm just going to take my scissors and, not hard, just gently kind of push those fibers off to the side. And that just kind of helps guide them so that everything flows back nicely over top of the fly. Add a few wraps in here. And tie that off. And I like to make sure we go on both sides of that just so that it gets really well locked in. Alright, what we need now is a bit of a whip finish. There we go. It's our egg-sucking ice tiger. Hey fly tyers, thanks for stopping by and watching my fly tying videos. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to get notified on the latest fly patterns, tips, and reviews. If you've enjoyed the video, hit that like button and post a comment below. If you'd like to support the content on the channel and get rewarded, you can visit my Patreon page. Until next time, this is Darren saying, keep a hook in your vise. Cheers!